It is a day of news. We got ourselves a community comm link from Fat Shark for Warhammer 40k Darktide, talking about what's kind of coming with the patch. And this isn't really a very detailed breakdown, and I'm just going to go ahead and give you all the information up front so you can stick around if you so wish. Basically, what's going to happen is that the patch is coming, it says, at the end of February, quote unquote. That might mean the actual literal last day of February, which is a Tuesday, which is a day that most people do their patches, which is the 28th. Or it might mean that it's coming next week. So we're not too sure. But this dev blog, or this little comm link, goes through basically answering some questions about how do you get different blessing tiers, will you be making any changes to resource drops, stuff like that. And then give us a little teaser of stuff that's coming in the upcoming patch. By and large, everything that's coming, that they've given us a teaser of what's coming, is stuff that we already know. So if that's all you wanted to know with the video, then you are free to shut the video down. But please do comment, like, and or subscribe. Any one of those things does really help me out in a huge way. Also, if you want to watch me stream Darktide, I do it on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at around 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So swing on over to my Twitch, linked in the description and the pinned comment, and give me a follow. Let's dive in here on the comm link that is just released for Warhammer 40k Darktide. And again, this is pretty straightforward. Pretty much just talking about the Shrine of the Omnissiah here. And how do you get different blessing tiers? So when you surrender a weapon to Hadron, you will receive the blessing from that weapon at its current tier. To get higher blessing tiers, you will need to find weapons with an improved tier on them and surrender those weapons to Hadron. So, I mean, honestly, I think that was kind of an odd question to answer. That seemed kind of like a no-brainer, but maybe that is a bigger question out in the community, and I'm somehow blind to that. And I doubt that's the case. But I would have rather that this question be geared towards ripping the blessings off. If I rip a blessing off of a tactical axe, can I only put it on a tactical axe? If I rip a blessings off of a tactical axe, can I put it, as long as it's in it the same thing, on a combat axe? An example of this would be brutal momentum on a tac axe or a combat axe. Can I swap them to either different weapon? They've said that once you get it onto the weapon, it's okay for different marks, but can I rip it from a different weapon? Because it's two different locations is what it sounds like in the actual shrine. One rips and one applies. So I would love to see, if you're ripping it, do I then rip it into a bank that I can then pull from if it's a different weapon? And they said once you've applied it to that weapon, it's okay for multiple marks of that weapon. So to make this even more convoluted, can I rip it from a tac axe and put it onto a combat axe? And can that combat axe be either the Achilles or the Antax? That part I know to be true. But I don't know if it has to be ripped from a combat, got to go onto a combat, then the combat can be any different mark of that combat axe. So that's what I wanted to see cleared up, not the different tier blessings. I think this was a pretty obvious no-brainer, right? You're ripping off a tier 3, you're putting on a tier 3. I think maybe people were wondering, can you rip off multiple tier 1s and then upgrade it to a tier 2 or what have you? But they didn't mention anything about upgrading, so I wouldn't have even thought that was an option. I would love to see that option, but still. Will you be making any changes to resource drops? This is pretty nice. Yes, we'll be increasing the amount of crafting resources you find in missions and adjusting the resources you find at higher difficulties to include more plasteel. Thank God. I will say, though, too, I just kind of wish that this was done like almost immediately. Like, this isn't something that needs to be kind of rolled into a major content drop. Just like roll this bad boy out in a hot fix, man. Like, change a couple of integers, because we need that plasteel. I am hurting for it. Upcoming patch, though, we'll be releasing a larger patch containing all the changes to the Shrine of the Omnissiah and more by the end of February. Here's a bit of a sneak peek of what you can expect from the upcoming patch. So first one here, I'm actually going to put this in red. Right there. Changes to the mission board. We will increase the number of available missions on the mission board from 12 to 16 in the difficulty distribution of the missions, with higher difficulties getting more representation. We will also lower the mission timers so that by the time you complete a mission, a new one has rotated in. I actually don't like this patch note. I do think that the mission board needs to be changed. But I think that this doesn't do anything to help me out, because the player base now has gone so far down that taking that player base and dispersing them over more maps isn't going to help anyone out. It's like saying, Okay, I'm playing a MMO, and the MMO is at such a small amount of players that rather than combining servers, I'm going to make more servers. So I don't want to distribute the player base across more maps that I possibly can't access, especially when the majority of players do not actually play in higher difficulties. And I don't know if they're saying higher difficulties is 4 and 5 or just 5. But we know the majority of the player base plays in 3, maybe 4, less so in 5. Maybe what's left are the true diehards on 5, because that's where I'm hanging out most of the time, right? 4s and 5s, let me get my weeklies done. But I'd rather that this change to the mission board had solely to do with secondary objectives, where every single map rolled with a secondary objective that you can either choose to or not to complete. There's no problem having a grimoire or a scripture on a map if you just choose not to do it. And if you complete the mission with it present, great, you've done it, you've knocked it out. So I'd rather have seen secondary objectives increase in their volume or their frequency, or maybe have the option to tailor either grimoires or scripts, or even both. That could be really cool, right? But even though grips and scrims take the same slot on your character. But still, that's my 2 cents on that. I think changes to the mission board are needed, but this isn't really what I think is going to help us out. Changes to the shrine will be adding the ability to earn blessings permanently and be able to re-bless your weapon. And like I said, it's going to be ripping and tearing, the ripping and the tearing. Changes to the Armoury Exchange. We will release a new feature to the Armoury Exchange where players can acquire any type by its mark that has been unlocked by achieving the minimum level required. As we've seen, this looks to be really awesome. Probably one of my favorite changes coming. So I can really experiment with the expanded crafting system, really make the weapon I want by just simply, okay, I'm going to go buy that thing as a gray. I'm going to step it all the way up to orange, and I'm going to put the blessings that I want on there. This has a new feature, so I assume that, and even the way that original picture looked, it looked like this was a different, an additional option within the Armoury Exchange. I think the Armoury Exchange is going to have its hourly refresh, and I want to say that that's actually a good thing, because now I can have a reliable bank of blessings to rip off of the store. Because that way it's like, okay, I don't need to solely do missions, because remember, missions are coming, right? Or I'm sorry, Emperor's Gifts are coming at the end of every mission. We saw that from the last comlink or dev blog, saying that every mission you complete, you get an Emperor's Gift. So that way I don't need to completely grind just drops from missions to get certain blessings. Maybe then just luck of the draw, it's there on the exchange. I can go grab it, which I do really like. I am wondering though how modifiers will roll. Will I just sit here and be pressing acquire, and then check like 10 of them to see, okay, well, of that 10, all of them rolled sub 360 modifier? That's a question I'm going to want to see when it comes to the patch coming out and how that will really roll. Because if there's still RNG attached to that, that's going to be kind of a headache. Because then it's RNG on the base weapon, RNG on the blessing, and then RNG on the perks. So I think that's too much of an RNG. I'm fine with the RNG on blessings and perks until there's a better system for it. But if it's still, I'm just trying to RNG my ass through the hole in the ground, like that's going to be really rough. Changes to the amount of experience and currency earned on side missions. Both side missions and conditions will now award different values of XP and Ordo dockets. They will also scale on the amount given relative to the difficulty level of the mission they are attached to. Very much loving that. So like to see an increase there, because if you're trying to like power level a character, doing a side mission with grimoires gives you a ton of experience, but now it'll actually scale, it looks to be even more so. So love to see how that's going to work itself out. Even more of a scale at least. And then lastly, emotes, something I did not really think I wanted to hear about. We're beginning to add more social interactions to the hub world of the Morningstar. Following the next patch, you will be able to Fortnite dance and equip yourself with emotes and say hello to your fellow rejects. The one thing I want these patch notes to say, and I understand not many people are going to fall in line with this statement. I just wanted to say that the premium cosmetics are back online. Give me that Deathcore Creek. I want to get back into some sweet, juicy cosmetics, because I don't really buy the whole set of cosmetics. I mainly go on there and buy individual weapon cosmetics. So that's the thing I look at the whole time, right? I'll look at my actual cosmetic when I'm in the Morningstar, sure. But man, I've bought almost all the really good weapon cosmetics because I bought the Imperial Edition. So I just had that bank of 2400 Aquila that I've just kind of been using for all those things. So I want that, and the really cool Ogren skin that we saw leak that looks like a hooded paladin Ogren. That one looks sick. But This is our news here for Warhammer 40k Darktide. Let me know what you guys are thinking about it. Are you excited for the Shrine of the Omnissiah changes? Does it changes to the mission board? Are you in the same boat as I am? I know that this kind of isn't the best change for it. Are you excited about the increase to the drops of plasteel, the Armoury exchange? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. As always, guys, very excited for this patch nonetheless, though. I know it kind of sounded a little negative here, but it's mainly because I'm just so excited for the patch, and there are some things that they've kind of revealed here that I feel like I can't just say, this looks great, this looks great, this looks great. I have to deliver to you guys at least my strong opinion on it, either being good, bad, or neutral of whatever it is, right? Like Emotes is pretty neutral. I've had a pretty bad opinion of the change of the mission board, but pretty good opinion to the change of the Armoury exchange, what have you, and so on. But as always, guys, again, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one, and take care.